So let's do a quick review. I think everyone kind of has a good sense of establishing this initial seat, but I just want to remind. If you're sitting cross-legged and you feel this kind of fatigue or pinch in the hip crease, one thing that can help is getting up on a pile of either pillows or I like blocks. 'Cause I like the more solid surface. And when we raise the hips higher than the knees, then the thigh bones can relax down and it can be easier to just maintain vertical. When we're able to relax in this hip crease area, it facilitates us feeling our breath in our pelvis, in our abdomen. So when we can relax, when this region can soften somewhat, we can feel our breath in our pelvis, our low back, our pelvic floor. And then we can align the skull over the pelvic floor. So the top dome of the head is situated over the bottommost dome, if you will, of the pelvis. And as we deepen our breath, these domes, it's like parentheses, you may feel that gentle movement of the domes a little bit apart. There might be a little retraction as they move back toward each other. Our breath work this evening, the design of it is so that we can begin uh, a slower breath rhythm. So we'll inhale for about a count of 8. We'll hold for about a count of 10. And then we'll exhale a count of 10. Now the numbers are fudgeable. Okay. And you can fudge the numbers, that's to prevent strain. Okay. So let's begin there, inhaling a count of 8. Getting your breath between those the pelvic and the cranial parentheses, domes. And then pausing, holding the breath. Letting the core and our solar plexus soften. 10 count exhale. Use your low belly muscles in a taffy-like manner, just drawing them back. We'll do a few more rounds, just like so. you have the ability to feel these domes, it's kind of core, parentheses of the core, the top of the skull, and the bottom of the pelvis, these diaphragms, this distance. Feel how easily or how resistant it is to breath. Sometimes those diaphragms can feel almost like quivering little bubbles of mercury. As the breath gets there, there's can be an almost ripple of uncertain movement. Let that occur. Let all those quivers sponge up this awareness, this breath, this feeling, breathing awareness. We'll make this our last round. And after that round, we'll change the configuration of our legs. We'll move into right over left. Now I leave it really general so you can decide. Is that shoelace right over left? Is that cross-legged? Is it knee pile? Is it something else you're dreaming up? Dream it up good. Right over left. We'll get into a little side bend. So right hand to the ground. Inhale, raise the left hand away from the left sit bone. And exhaling, we'll move into the side bend. I'm going to press gently out each heel. So I'm sending that bottom or left heel just gently toward the wall to my right. And I'm pressing very gently my right heel toward the wall to my left. Now with this gentle heel, the suggestive move through the heel, can you feel for relaxing in that left hip crease? If there's some tension in the left thigh, I wonder if we had 2 more breaths, is it possible to feel some of that tension dissipate? Reaching with my breath all the way down into that left hip crease. So meet it with breath. And inhaling, use the left hand, help pull yourself up, your trunk up. Let's change sides and we'll do side bend, other side. So the cross of our legs is left over right. How you arrange them is up to you. I'm going with shoelace this evening. You may like cross-legged or knee pile. But that my left leg is just helping to weigh the right thigh bone down. That's really what we're getting with this. We'll go left hand down, inhale, right hand away from right sit bone. And exhaling, reaching through the heel of the right palm, the fingertips. Reaching so far, and then when I feel that any little quiver of restraint around that right hip or thigh, I'm going to pause. Feel if breath can reach. Intimately contact this right hip crease area. I keep listening because as you exhale, does something seem to release or unfold? Just letting the weight of the leg just keep hanging down, relaxing down. It's not a fight, it's just an ongoing, kind, and caring observation. Benign, loving interest. Inhaling, take that right hand up and over. Help your trunk upright. Assist head as needed. Let's unwind the legs, and when we lie down on back, we'll work a couple kinds of abdominals. So we'll start with elbow to knee, the version where our one palm will press same side thigh. I'll talk us through the whole thing. Inhale the head and the shoulders off the ground. And pause. If you're curling the tailbone, remember that's that low belly move. It kind of pulls the tailbone up a little bit. Exhale, left leg up, left palm to left thigh. Offer pressure and then feel if that thigh bone moves. If there's a little nudge. Yeah, pull low belly down. Good. Inhale, bend left knee. Pause, curl tailbone, exhaling, right leg reaches up, right hand offers right thigh pressure. Okay. Now just offer it pressure and feel what happens. So we're not grading the amount of space or we're just feeling what we can feel. Pull low belly down. Good, inhale, bend that right knee. So we may not know what a good arrangement is. We may not have that detailed of a plan. Curl tailbone, exhale, left leg reaches up, left hand presses. And the pressure, you may feel that little kind of that lift up, that bone away from bone movement, pull low belly down. Inhale, bend left knee. Curl tailbone, exhale, right leg reaches up, right hand presses right thigh. Pressure. Pull low belly down. Good, inhale, bend that right knee. In these last couple, we're going to reach the heel up. Curl tailbone, exhale, left heel. Reach the leg up, press the heel up. Use left palm, press the thigh. Pull low belly down. Inhale, bend left knee. Exhale, right leg straight up. Reach the heel bone up. Right palm, press right thigh. Press, pull low belly down. All right, now you do the last one on each side. So if I'm gripping or kind of grasping on or have a lot of pressure, pressurized system in the leg, that movement may feel very slight. When you're through with those, of course, we set the feet down, the head down. So the one other that we'll do this evening is twisted root abs. So when we do this twisted root abs, we're going to be working some of these hip crease efforts. Okay? Now, when we work them really strongly, sometimes a little heat or an intensity can develop. Make sure there's no pain. If there's a little discomfort, you might be able to just breathe and work with that. But of course, you have to be your best common sense and advocate. Let's start with the right knee over the left knee. I have my feet off the ground. There's a secondary move, and if your knees agree with it, tuck the right foot behind the left calf. Some people don't like that second move. It's too much on the knee. Just omit it. We'll bring the hands behind the head to start. Inhaling, float head and shoulders off the ground. Keeping that back flush on the ground. Exhale, curling tailbone, press thigh into thigh, and learn if you can get some of that same thigh bone lift. Hip crease, space, pull, load, belly down. Inhale, let the tailbone relax down. We'll keep the shoulders up. Now exhale, curling tailbone. So I'm kind of pulling my left calf against my right foot, pressing thigh against thigh, lifting, moving thigh bones towards sky, pull low, belly down. We'll do another. Inhale. And exhaling, curling tailbone, thigh, press thigh. It's almost like I'm pulling my left heel down to raise my kneecaps, thigh bones towards sky. Pull low belly down. Now keep the legs exactly as they are. Inhale the head to the ground. Stack your hands on your right thigh, mid-thigh. Now it might be challenging at this point, but keep the back on the ground. Keep the head on the ground. Inhale into low back. Remember, head stays down. Exhale, as you're curling the tailbone, pull the thighs toward your chest and hands press. Prevent the thighs from moving toward your chest. Pull low belly down. Let's do one more. Inhaling, let up a little bit. Keep that head on the ground. Exhale. Pull your thighs toward your chest. And hands prevent movement. Push back. So pull and push. Curling the tailbone. Pull low belly down. Good. Release. Inhale. Let's unwind. Whew, I'm hearing some whoos. There is another side, so here we go. Into our courage corner. Cross left knee over right. If knees agree, hook left foot behind right calf. Remember, if it bothers the knee, omit it. Let's start with the hands behind the head. Inhale, head and shoulders up off the ground. Exhaling, curling the tailbone. I'm intimating, pulling my right heel down. Resultantly, I lift my thigh bones up, pull low belly down. Inhale, softening just a touch. Exhaling, curling tailbone, press thigh against thigh, reaching thigh bones up. Pull low belly down. Again, inhale, letting up pressure. Exhaling, I'm actively pulling my right calf down on my other leg, lifting kneecaps, thigh bones, pull low belly down. Now keep the legs as they are. Inhale, place the head down, stack your hands on your left thigh. Exhaling, curling the tailbone, press hands into thighs, thighs into hands. Keep that head down as best as you can. Good. I'll pull low belly down. Last one, here we go. Inhale, ease off pressure. Here it is. Now exhale, pull the thighs toward your chest and the hands prevent that move. Push back hands, there you go. So you're gonna work those hip creases. Pull, 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 and now draw the low belly down. Great, inhale, unwind, release. And we can let the knees rest apart for a moment. That might be nice. You can place soles of feet together. And with the knees apart, breathe into hip crease, genitals. We've got a lot of sacral ligament tissue. We've got deep, deep hip muscles. So I want to ask you to feel those domes again. They kind of outline our core. I've got a parentheses, a dome at the base of my pelvis. And at the top of the skull. Take a couple more breaths. Feel as if breath can reach both of those domes, almost like you're gently spreading the parentheses apart. Cool. All right. Now, you may have this roller block beside you. Let's get it for bridge. So I like the roll for this. Set your feet up, hip width apart, object between legs, heels fingertip distance away. Now when we move into bridge, feeling those parentheses, those domes, may require some creative configuring. So here we go. Inhaling to the pelvic floor, to the skull bones. And with feet active, exhale, shift the tailbone toward the roll till the buttock lifts, until the spine lifts. And we're in. Now at first, just hold the roll or the prop lightly with your inner legs. Because we've already done a good amount of massage or excitatory work for those inner legs. So just start with a mild inner leg prop hold. What's really cool is that in a bridge like this, we can start to suss out the efforts that provide us with some energy and some juice into our system from the tension that tends to block the energy, the juice. So feel for your breath reaching the pelvis. That's a pretty good indicator that tension shifts enough. Right? So there's ways that we engage our body, like the backs of our legs are probably really engaged. And then there's places where tension just kind of lives, almost statically. It dispossesses breath. It kind of keeps it at bay. So we want to feel that breath reaching the pelvis, the hips, the pelvic floor, the genitals. You can still feel your leg muscles working. Okay. Now in this final part of bridge, to the degree with which you're comfortable, I'll offer we can increase the squeeze of the roll. Why would I want to do that? That's just more work, Gwen. True. But if I can just dose in and experience maybe a little bit more juice, it's possible it can help me discover areas where I might be able to let go. And to exit, lower the spine down. Remove the roll. Place it off to the side, and let's turn over and prep for dolphin. We'll work two forms of dolphin. The first one, have a roll or a block at the front of your mat. That could be a pretty high stack, but just do like so. This way, when we set our elbows up under our shoulders, I'm going to put my hands, my clasped hands, atop this object. So it keeps my hands elevated. I've literally just propped my hands off the ground. Okay. So now set the knees apart and step them back slightly. The benefit of having this prop under your hands is that if you provide a little push, it actually takes some pressure off of your elbows. Inhale into the armpits, the back flaps of your armpits. Exhaling, send the sit bones effortlessly back away from that prop. We're going to do a couple of things here in this dolphin prelude. So the first item, you can have your knees down, Vijay. So if you have your knees down, Vijay, and we just reach the sit bones back, what we'll be inducing is it's like taking the slack out of the lats and the armpit. So we're going to be in here a while. I want you to just be able to feel that traction without too much effort, because we're going to get very breath. There you go. Perfect. I'm pretty breath focused here. Now, we've just done a lot of stuff in that hip crease area. So feel for the hip creasing smoothly and effortlessly. So your hips glide back, your sit bones glide back away from your hands. Now what we're about to do, I'm calling it a double inhale. I want us to inhale voluminously, dynamically. And when you think you're most full with breath, just pause and sneak in a little extra breath. It's like topping off the tank. So it's not a breath hold, it's an inhale. It's almost like you're waiting for a little second wind, and you can very often take another third of a breath on top of that. Okay. I'll just do like one or two more like that. I feel that starting to stretch into the mid-back. Great. It's so great. Now part 2, so we'll remain exactly where we are in this dolphin prelude. Now this time, we're going to work the exhale component. So as I exhale, gently, start to recruit those low belly muscles, pulling the belly in and back and up. I'm just going to let it go when I need to continue into inhale. Now, the emptier you're willing to experiment with, the more structure may get tugged. You may feel that internal structural tug in all sorts of places. We'll just take a couple more. To me, these are like continuous and very, very soft uddiyanas. Continuous and very soft, elegant. There's nothing harsh or fast at all. Making this the last round. exit. Shift your weight forward. Reset the knees underneath your hips. You might be a couple inches longer in the torso. Ha ha. If you move that prop off to the side, now we can place our forearms and our hands on the ground. So now dolphin, inhaling into armpits and back of heart, mid-back. Curling toes under, exhale. Now we'll press those knees off the ground. Dolphin. This will be brief. To exit, set the knees softly down. Right, inhaling, pull the hands under your shoulders. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, right foot forward, lunge, knee up, heel up. So I'm going to offer keep hands down initially. If you're tender in the low back or even in the hip, having the hands down can be really nice. Now, in the very beginning of our practice, I offered reaching the heel back, reaching out through the heel, and feeling the hip crease soften. Now notice I said soften, not necessarily stretch. Whether you can feel stretch or not, that's fine, but focus on the quality of the hip crease softening. I've noticed, for me, softening often comes along with a threshold degree of care. So when my care and my interest are heightened sufficiently, softness seems to occur as a natural byproduct of benign, loving interest. Now let's set that left knee down. Twisting lunge. So I'm going to draw so I'm in half kneel. I've drawn my right foot back a bit. Inhale to raise the left arm, and I'll lift your abdomen away from that left thigh. Exhaling, hook left elbow over right thigh. In we go. Left hand can make a fist. Now, having moved into the twist, is it possible to reach the left side of your abdomen and waist and that hip crease with your breath? I'm going to set up for twisting lunge interlock. So exhaling, we'll slide that left armpit down to the thigh. And here you have to decide how much is right for your shoulders. Maybe I grab my clothing here by the hip. Maybe I usher my left hand under my right thigh. Remember, when we want to know, when there's great care and loving interest, right, we want to know this area of our body. We want to know. There's a little presumption in that we'd be willing to feel whatever arises. If I'm interested, I'm wholly interested. I'm not just conditionally interested. Well, I'm only interested if I get the release that I'm looking for today. Nah. Or I'm only interested if the feelings are nice and happy and good. So loving interest. I'm able and I'm willing to feel whatever arises there. And it could be just 1 square inch. I could be willing to feel whatever arises in just one little inch area of my body. Now let's release. When we inhale, we unwind. Now we're working a pigeon variant. So we'll walk the right foot over, set the right shin down. And then as you're walking your left foot back, we'll go forearms to ground. And now curl the back toes under. Here's that heel move again. Inhaling into the waist and the abdomen. Exhaling, lead, heel straight back. Again, feel for the softening of the hip. Not just the stretch. Feel that there might be a softening inside the stretch. Now, remember those parentheses, those domes? Breathe into those domes, from the pelvic dome to the cranial dome. It's all right if the leg shakes a little bit. It's all right. And we'll release. Inhaling. Walk the hands under your shoulders. Exhale, downward dog. All right, lunge fast. Here we go. Inhale the left foot forward. So the right knee and heel are up. I'll recommend, if you need support to kind of hold this pose, we're holding it a while, you can have the hands down. Breathing into right side waist and pelvis. Exhaling, feel the heel bone. Reach gently toward that wall behind you. Feel the right hip crease soften. There's a lot of survival energy that belongs to or pertains to the pelvis. We may not think that survival energy is much to be concerned about here, but I've been fascinated to notice this kind of survival instinct and concern show up in some really interesting places, like digital cancellation and some of these newer ways that we can be excised, omitted, left out. It can play with this energy quite a bit. Like, so just because a bear isn't chasing us doesn't mean that we might not have access and be experiencing it in 21st century. All right, inhaling, let's set that right knee down. We move now, twisting lunge. So, it's a half kneel, right? Inhaling the right arm up, exhaling, hook. Right arm over left thigh. My sense is a lot of individuals have been experiencing isolation and fear. Rightly, I get it. Still a gift to breathe into pelvis and to work with those energies, those emotions consciously. We can have them without being had by them. That is a possibility. I can have fear. Absolutely healthy to have fear. Human to have fear. But I don't have to be had by fear. Okay. Twisting, lunge, interlock. Exhaling, I'm going to slide that right armpit down. Till I find the best hand grip today. Good, and breathe right into those, the right side of those ribs, Andrew. Mm-hmm. And we'll release. Inhaling and winding. We're working that pigeon. So I walk the left foot across, lie shin down. And while walking the right leg back, place forearms down on ground. And exhaling, again, heel. Get sent back. Okay, and just be very, very attuned. Feel that the hip crease may soften. Sometimes we just clench out of habit. I just want to draw our attention, our feeling awareness to the pattern. Be feeling patterns of softening or patterns of defense or impenetrability. These final several breaths. Remember those parentheses, those domes, skull dome and pelvic dome. Spreading your breath from genitals to skull. And releasing. Inhale, let's walk those hands under the shoulders. Exhaling, downward dog. Right. We're going to actually end with a final round of dolphin prelude. So let's gently set the knees down. And that was that move. It's not quite dolphin and it's not quite embryo. It's kind of between the two. I'm going to choose a prop for under my hands. It's not necessary. I just like the pressure of my hands, alleviating some pressure on my elbows. That's all. Set the knees apart. Set them back just a few inches. Back meaning like behind the hips. And as I reach the sit bones away from that prop or away from my hands, I'm going to revisit those deep, deep breath moves that we did earlier. And so one was that double inhale. So I inhale as deeply as I can, and then I don't let it go. I just hang on to it for a moment. You'll feel like a little, almost like a rev, like it's revving up to help you take another bit of inhale. And then exhaling, feel the sit bones, the lats, the sides of the body lengthen. I'm going to practice that ultra patient Uddiyana move. So as I'm exhaling, I'm feeling the sit bones melt away from my armpits. Start to involve those low belly muscles, drawing them in and back and up. One more very full breath. And then we'll exit by shifting the weight forward. And I crawl stepping out of there. And let's set up for some Shavasana. So, it's very possible we're a little bit longer, taller as we're lying back. So enjoy all the real estate. opening is a pretty precious thing that cannot be forced, or can't be forced for very long. So in those instances where we feel qualities of openness, take a few deep breaths as acknowledgement. Wow, this feels different. This compassionate, kind interest that we explore with in our body. There's a miraculous way it just helps us feel the body as the openness and the spaciousness that it really is. If you feel your breathing almost like wanting to reset, like a sigh or like a big breath shift, let that happen. And when you're ready, if you're wanting to move at this time, bend knees. Turn to a side. And use both hands to press to your preferred seated position. I thank you, and it is always just so wonderful to see you. Namaste.